Hi guys, Mr. Sherman here again. Today we have Zen Shorts by John J. Muth. Now, Zen is a Japanese word that means peaceful. And it has to do with a man named Buddha. And there's actually a whole religion after him, if you can believe such a thing, called Buddhism. And in Buddhism, people believe the best way to teach is for the teacher to tell stories and to teach the student, and then the student becomes the teacher and teaches the next person, which is kind of cool because we kind of do that in class. Sometimes I'll say, "Oh, you're an expert. Come on up and show everybody." So maybe we have a little bit of Zen going on in our classroom, a little Zen teaching. But it's all about being calm and present and peaceful. All things we probably could use right now, right? So this is Zen Shorts by John J. Muth. And I really love this book. I'm going to adjust myself a tiny bit. There we go. Zen Shorts by John J. Muth. "Michael, there's a bear outside," said Carl. "A what?" called Michael. "A bear. And he's really big, and he's in the backyard." "What's he doing?" said Michael. "He's sitting, and he has an umbrella," said Carl. "An umbrella?" By the time the boys got outside, their sister Addie was already talking with him. "I'm very sorry for arriving unannounced," said the bear. "The wind carried my umbrella all the way from my backyard to your backyard. I thought I'd retrieve it before it became a nuisance." He spoke with a very slight panda accent. Michael introduced himself. Then Addie introduced Carl, because Carl was always shy around bears he didn't know. And that is how Addie and Michael and Carl met Stillwater. The next day, Addie went to see Stillwater. "Hello," Addie called as she stepped inside. Come in," called a faraway voice. She heard the voice say, "Oh, yes, come out, come out." Stillwater was in the backyard. He was in a tent. "This is a birthday present from my Uncle Rye," Stillwater said. "He always gives the best presents on his birthday to celebrate the day he was born. I like it so much I'm not staying in my house right now." Stillwater invited Addie to sit with him in the tent. I brought you some cake to eat," said Addie. "You brought me some cake," said Stillwater. "That was very nice of you. Is it your birthday?" he asked. "No," said Addie. "It's not mine either," said Stillwater. "But let me give you a little gift for my uncle's birthday. I will tell you a story." Uncle Rye and the Moon. My Uncle Rye lived alone in a small house up on the hill. He didn't own many things. He lived a simple life. One evening he discovered he had a visitor. A robber had broken into the house and was rummaging through my uncle's few belongings. The robber didn't notice Uncle Rye, and when my uncle said, "Hello," the robber was so startled he almost fell down. My uncle smiled at the robber and shook his hands. "Welcome, welcome. How nice of you to visit." The robber opened his mouth to speak, but he couldn't think of anything to say. Because Rye never lets anyone leave the house empty-handed, he looked around the tiny hut for a gift for the robber, but there was nothing to give. The robber began to back towards the door. He wanted to leave. At last, Rye knew what to do. He took off his only robe, which was old and tattered. "Here," he said, "please take my robe." The robber thought my uncle was crazy. He took the robe and dashed out the door and escaped into the night. My uncle sat and looked at the moon in its silvery light spilling all over the mountains, making all things quietly beautiful. "Poor man," lamented my uncle. "All I had to give him was my tattered old robe. If only I could give him something wonderful like the moon." "Your uncle sounds nice," said Addie. "I don't think I would have give away my only robe." "I know how that is," said Stillwater. but there's always the moon. That was a good story, said Addie. Thank you, said Stillwater. And this is a good cake. Thanks, said Addie. I need it myself. The next day, Michael went to see Stillwater. Here I am, called Stillwater from a tree. Can I come up? Said Michael. If you're careful, said Stillwater. What if we could fly, said Michael. We could cast shadows on the clouds, said Stillwater. But what if we fell, said Michael. If we fell, we might break something, said Stillwater. That would be bad, said Michael. Maybe, said Stillwater. Maybe, said Michael. Let me tell you a story. The farmer's luck. Once there was an old farmer who worked his crops for many years. One day his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit. Such bad luck, they said unsympathetically. Maybe, the farmer replied. The next morning, the horse returned, bringing with it 2 wild horses. Such good luck, the neighbors exclaimed. Maybe, said the farmer. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses and was thrown and broke his leg. Again, the neighbors came to offer sympathy on his misfortune. Such bad luck. Maybe, answered the farmer. The day after that, the military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army to fight in a war. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. Such good luck, cried the neighbors. Maybe, said the farmer. And look, now his son's so lazy, he just watches TV. It doesn't help. Hey, said Michael, I get it. Maybe good luck and bad luck are all mixed up. You never know what's going to happen. Yes, said Stillwater, agreeing. You never know. Luck is luck. The day after that, Carl went to visit Stillwater. Michael said I couldn't bring over all this stuff to go swimming, and I'm mad at Michael. He's always telling me what to do, so I brought everything. Said Stillwater. It is a little pool. I don't know if all those things will fit. Let's see, said Carl. Let's see, said Stillwater. Stillwater looked at the pool. The things can go swimming, but we can't, he said. I brought too much stuff, said Carl. That's okay, said Stillwater. I can help you carry it home. Why does Michael always have to tell me what to do? If he were here, I would climb up really high, and I would jump on him like this, and I would do a big smash like this. Later, Carl and Stillwater had tea. Carl, said Stillwater, you spent the whole day being very angry with Michael. Did you even notice how much fun we had? Carl watched the steam rise from his cup. I'm sorry I brought all this stuff, said Carl. You don't need to be sorry, said Stillwater. Right now you need to carry. Hang on tight and I will tell you a story. A heavy load. 2 monks reached a town where there was a young woman waiting to step off her sedan chair. The rain had made deep puddles, and she couldn't cross without spoiling her silk robes. She stood there looking very cross and impatient. She was scolding her attendants, who had nowhere to place the packages they held for her, so they could not help her across the puddle. The younger monk noticed the woman and said nothing and walked by. The older monk quickly picked her up, put her on his back, and carried her across the water and put her down on the other side. She didn't thank the older monk at all. She just shoved him out of the way and departed. As they continued on their way, the young monk was brooding and preoccupied. After several hours, unable to hold his silence, he spoke out. That woman back there was very selfish and very rude, and you picked her up on your back and carried her, and she didn't even say thank you. I put that woman down long ago, the older monk said. Why are you still carrying her? You think I have carried it long enough, said Stillwater. Yes, said Carl. Good. And that was how Addie and Michael and Carl and Stillwater became friends. Zen Shorts by John J. Muth. I love this book for a bunch of reasons, but the story that really kind of sinks in my head a lot with first graders is the story of the monks. If you think about it, the older monk gave the old cranky lady a couple of minutes and helped her across the puddle. And then he was done. Done. The younger monk ruined his whole day. Let that lady, that cranky lady, ruin his whole day because he couldn't get past it. He couldn't put her out of his mind. First graders, I think we do that a lot. I think grown-ups do that a lot. I think first graders do that a lot. I think we need to learn to let things go sometimes. You know, one of my favoriteest stories that I tell kids is about two little girls who were in my first grade a few years back. And one of the first grade girls, they were arguing. They were arguing over a crayon or a pencil, something silly. And one of the girls said, "Well, you didn't even come to my birthday party." And I said, "Whoa, this is a big deal. What's going on?" And she said, "She didn't even come to my birthday party. She's not my friend." And I said, "Stop. When did this happen?" And the little girl looked at me and said, "When I was 4. 4? You're 6. And you're still holding on to something from when you were 4? So I read her this story. And I said to her, "Listen, if you can't let go and forgive her and move on, it's going to be a hard road to travel. We have to learn to let things go. Say what you need to say and move on." That's a lesson that we all can get past. I know I need to work on that, and I bet a lot of you do too. You guys are awesome. I love all of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.